On Freedom Watch, you don't often hear about politicians who make a sincere effort to increase their own power or to shrink the size of the government. When Gary Johnson was governor of New Mexico, he not only was a vocal critic of the war on drugs, but tried in several ways to shrink New Mexico government, including shedding government workers through attrition and early retirement, without firing them and without replacing them. By contrast, our federal government is the fastest growing segment of the economy. While overseas in Greece, you know this, so-called civil servants are prominent among the rioters who are protesting against any cuts in Greek government spending, even as Greece's economy collapses and threatens to pull the rest of Europe down with it. Can the United States avoid such a fate? Can the public sector here ever shrink? Do the other members of Gary Johnson's party, the Republicans, really care about that goal anymore? Joining me now to talk about this thorny problem, one of the heroes of small government in modern America, former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson. Governor, welcome to Freedom.
Judge, great to be on.
What the heck is going on? You saw the drug raid that we just watched. You saw the riots in Greece that we just watched. Big picture, is government more out of control today than it's ever been?
Government is more out of control today than it's ever been, and the hope would be is that people actually wake up to this and make that change. I think analogous to what's happening in Greece today is what might happen with all the states here in this country. All the state pension funds are underwater.
Right.
Is the federal government going to step up when California declares bankruptcy?
What kind of resistance did you meet when you attempted to apply basic free market principles to the government of New Mexico? You don't spend more than you take in. You don't do more than you need to. You don't take property if you don't have to.
Well, New Mexico's 2-to-1 Democrat. I got reelected on the basis of saying no to growing government. I think everybody saw this whole notion of policies that affected everyone equally as opposed to policies that affected well-connected political individuals or well-connected political corporations. I think people saw that, and I think I got reelected on that basis. Doing, 1,000 fewer state employees over an 8-year period, really, that was a testament to state government employees doing more with fewer people.
Now, I don't want to make you feel bad, but weren't you followed by a big government governor? Isn't there one there now who would just as soon undo all the good that you did?
Well, those 12,000 employees that were reduced to fewer than 11,000 are now more than 16,000. So, as I always say, never catch up to where it would have been.
What is the lesson to be learned about bailouts? I mean, TARP, unconstitutional and wasted. Stimulus, unconstitutional and wasted. Why should the federal government be owning General Motors and owning Chrysler and telling bankruptcy judges not to pay bondholders? If the rule of law isn't going to be applied, if the Constitution doesn't mean anything anymore, except to a few people like Ron Paul and you, where are we going? Is this government by whim?
You know what? I think right now, I think the sentiment across the country is outrage. It's outrage with anybody that's in office. Anybody that's in office needs to get voted out. And I think there's a huge rising awareness to the Constitution. I think Ron Paul deserves so much credit. You yourself deserve so much credit for this rising awareness of government and its role. Anybody that's in office gets voted out. I think Republicans pick up as a result of that, but I think Republicans would be mistaken to view that as any sort of mandate because right now they're the minority party.
Didn't the Republicans prove when, at least for the first 6 years of President Bush's presidency, when they controlled the Congress and the White House, that they can't govern any better than the Democrats
That's my point. If Republicans will get back to managing the checkbook, I think they're going to be just fine.
Do you agree with me that we don't have a two-party system in this country? We have a one-party system.
I do. That it's a corporatism. Legislation passed that benefits individuals, corporations, well-connected. The whole notion of regulation, really more regulation, benefits big business, not small business. Big business that can pay, that can afford to meet these regulations, as opposed to free market.
But there was a time when we sent people to Washington, or even to the state capitals, who were more interested in liberty, in individual liberty, in freeing individuals to express themselves and to use their own initiative to pursue happiness. Now we seem to be sending people to government from both parties more interested in power, more interested in telling people how to express themselves and how to pursue happiness.
I couldn't agree more. And I just think, I think people right now, people are outraged over that notion. Anybody that's in office, out. And then let's repeat that exercise as many times as it takes to get people in office that will actually address the problems that we have in this country today.
Is the Republican Party undergoing some soul searching? A couple of examples.
Bob Bennett,
Bob Bennett, an 18-year moderate to conservative U.S. senator, denied renomination by his party. Rand Paul against the establishment candidate, 15, 20 points ahead in Kentucky. Marco Rubio chasing the establishment Republican governor out of the race. Are we seeing the influence of the Tea Partiers? Are we seeing more of a Barry Goldwater, small government, the Constitution means what it says version of republicanism resurgent?
I think we're seeing that resurgent. I think it's a great thing, and I just hope it continues. And again, I hope Republicans that are elected understand that to stay in office, they're going to have to return to managing the pocketbook, balance revenues with expenditures. Government needs to be cut 43%. 43 cents out of every dollar that we're currently spending is borrowed, and this is insane. We're seeing it played out in Greece right now. The bond market, California is going to go bankrupt. What's the federal government going to do?
Wow, the federal government will probably be asked to bail out California.
And of course, then what about states that have been fairly prudent in the management of their pensions, for example?
What's the role for former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson in all of this?
Well, you know, I've started up a 501c4 advocacy committee. I'm the honorary chairman. Allows me to speak out on the issues of the day. Really started this December 1st, so I've been on the road since December 1st, really talking out about the issues of the day, which starts with the fact that we are bankrupt. And bankrupt, you know, that's the Federal Reserve printing money to cover our obligations, weaker dollar, more inflation, right on the horizon.
Are we shoveling against the tide, or is there hope for our brand of small government with the emphasis on freedom rather than giveaways?
You know, we might be shoveling against the tide, but there'd be two courses of action. One would be to sit on the couch and think about those courses of action. The other would be to actually get out and burn some shoe leather and see whether or not maybe we can put a voice to this outrage and make a change.
All the times we've been on the air together, this is the first time we've been in the same room. I got to shake your hand. It's a pleasure. I thank you for all you've done. All you've done for freedom.
Thank you for all you do.
But there are very few
you.
people in government who abstain from using power, and you were a champion of that when you were the governor of New Mexico.
Well, very kind of you to say.
Thank you for joining us, Governor Johnson.